So the reason I say we're doomed is what elected politician can ever go
That's the problem.
to the electorate and say, I'm going to overhaul the whole tax system. And even if some of you will be overall worse off, some of you will be overall better off, but even you in some way will be worse off. So I can buy a house for $500,000 30 years ago and sell it for $15 million today. And I don't pay, and as long as I've lived in it, I don't pay 1 cent of tax on that.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you reduce the discount on real estate, it only raises $4 billion a year. If we take the discount on all assets, only $6.5 billion a year. We're wasting $50 billion a year on the NDIS. $10 billion goes to autism. So more money is spent on autism. This whole job-killing tax increase will do.
But some of that money has to be spent, or I think very strongly I feel should be spent. The question is how much of the 10 bill is it?
Yeah, exactly.
But do you agree we're doomed? Because there is no way to fix a tax system without fixing the whole tax system. And
it's the spending that's the problem.
But there's all these piecemeal bits, like there's still payroll tax because fresh fruit and vegetables don't have
payroll
GST.
Tax is going up.
Yeah, and there's a GST, which is probably the wrong number. And there's an income tax that probably isn't right. And there's company tax, which is also wrong. Yeah. And there's superannuation concessions.
There's no minerals resource. There's no petroleum. Some people like Santos and Woodside are frantically drilling oil outside the Australian ports and paying basically no royalty.
Well, when they run ads that say, we pay as much tax that covers the whole of Medicare, so you should love us. Yeah. I would say, yes, but you're digging up my gold from the ground, right?
And oil.
Like I own that as an Australian citizen.
At least the gold miners pay a royalty to the states, whereas like Woodside and Santos and many foreign-owned companies like Chevron or the other guys pay nothing. Or it's called the petroleum resources, PRRT, or whatever it's called. That does basically zero. And government after government leave this thing completely stuffed.
So this is my point. If Kevin Rudd, remember that guy?
That was the MRRT.
I know. If he couldn't even get a tax through to take more money from highly profitable hole diggers, which I always say, I have the utmost respect for miners because they're the only reason we have a good quality of life in this country. But really, he couldn't even sell. We want to take more money from rich hole diggers. Okay, and so
he's got spooked. They ran a campaign. Remember,
they would have
Andy Frost in the back of a truck.
Super smart. Yeah, super smart. And so the reason I say we're doomed is what elected politician can ever go to the electorate and say, I'm going to overhaul the whole tax system, and even if some of you will be overall worse off. Yeah. Some of you will be overall better off, but even you in some way will be worse off. You're only going to focus on the way that you're worse off. That you have to have someone that basically doesn't want themselves or their party to be in power after the next election.